Good afternoon and welcome back to the garden. It's actually not raining at the moment. We've had such a lot of rain, it was unbelievable. Now the first job we're going to do is we're going to cover the early strawberries should I say, with a net, because I'll show you in a moment that the one or two's ripened and the birds have gone straight for them, as they do. I'll pick it and show you. It was lovely strawberry, but you can see, look, where the birds have pecked at it to eat it. If it was a slug, it would be a round hole where it's gone in, but we can't have that, so we'll get the net on. Now what we should do, it'll take two of us to get this net on because there's a little bit of wind, and so we'll put it on and then show you it on. Now I just pegged this net on quickly, but I didn't bring enough pegs down, so I'll get some more pegs made. They're only wire pegs, so you can quite easily make some, and I'll make another dozen and put them in. But that will protect those from the birds, that's what matters. This side, if you remember, these are the late strawberries, so when those are finished cropping, we'll just bring the net over to this for cropping. When they're done, we'll pack the net away. We've got to the tomatoes, and as you can see, I've started putting the bottles in. This year we won't have enough bottles for every plant, so I'm putting the bottles between the two, and I'm sure when we've watered a couple of times and fed, both plants will send the roots to the water, hopefully, and then I'm sure they'll be alright. The hardest part of these bottles is when I bring the two 14-litre watering cans down, and the time you've done them for the season, they're dragging on the floor. Now these are the onions from overwintering onions, and that's the rusty garlic, if you remember. Now this soil had dried out completely and cracked, as you can see. So while we had all this rain, I got the 4-prong and I went up and down the rows to break that cracked earth up, but I think it will need one more go just to finish it off with the hoe and see if we can get a bit deeper. Now the broad beans have had quite an attack of black fly, which they always do, and so what I did, I went over it with the spray with some pyrethrum in it, which is organic, but as you can see, it's killed them. They're just settled in now. If it gets some rain today, it'll probably wash all those black fly off now, but as you see here, look, it's killed them, it's knocked them down. We just want something now to wash them off. The black fly is there. As they stand up again, I shall nip the tops out now. Just the bit above the flowers, let this grow a bit, then just nip that out, and your black flies tend to leave it alone a bit. If you really look at it, you'll see that your black fly is being introduced by ants. So if you steady the ants, you'll steady the black fly. Now, as you can see behind me, I got the frame up and got the net on and got wet through, but I got it done, and that was the main thing. And we'll take you in there now and show you what I've actually planted in the rain as well. Now we're actually in the net tunnel. It's not bad, it's only just lengths of wood pushed in the ground, and then it's what we had last year pushed in the ground up there, so every year we move it. But I'll take you through what I've put in. The first two rows are Coco de Pampol. There'll be nice beans there. This row here is Pongo beans that our good friends Bill and Val have sent us. That's the first real cropping row we've had out of those. Now these, again, these are a bit taller peas, these are. These are your Kent Blue. Again, what Bill and Val sent us. We grew them last year so we could collect the seed, and now we've done it as a crop, so that should crop very well. Very pleased with those, Bill and Val, thank you. These here are dwarf peas, believe it or not. They were stood very nice, but the rain that we had last night has actually smashed them down. But they will actually go in a line here with just enough room to walk between the two rows. If I keep them away from it a bit, these will be finished before those, so there'll be plenty of room for harvesting the Kent Blue. This end, now I have 3 cucumbers left, fem spot, so I'm thinking I will put those in the end of this hole to grow up that end, because the tree does give them a little bit of shade from the sun and the wind today, so I think we'll try those out there. I have got 2 in the greenhouse which I'll show you shortly, but out of the 5 seed we have 5 plants, so rather than waste them I'll put them in here. These are the odds and bits of the Coco de Pampol. Well, they'll go in here. These are a few of the Kent Blue I had left. Now what I should do, I should just space those out on this side of the net and let them all join and get on with the climbing. But the Kent Blue is the only climbers we're running this year, and they're looking very well. They was only planted yesterday. I'll get these other beans put in, it might be tomorrow now, and then we can sort of shut this up and just hoe it a few times, keep it clean, and then harvest. Now we're going in the bottom greenhouse now, but I'll just show you the rhubarb as we go past it. In this little polytunnel I have some celery and celeriac and about the 5th set of sweet corn, but I've managed to get a few, so we'll put those in anyway. This is our rhubarb patch. Now I've never seen it as far back as that as we're coming into June. I think it was the amount of times it was underwater this winter. It really hasn't done it any good at all. What I shall do, I think, I'll clean it thoroughly right back, give it some feed. I don't know what feed we'll use yet. It'll be a nitrogen feed obviously, and then let it recover, and if need be we'll let it rest this season. So if it grows a little bit we might just leave it alone and let it rest the season out, and then hopefully not so much water, we'll have a good crop next year. As you can see, the artichokes are doing rather well, and they've been underwater like the rhubarb, but they're doing rather well. They'll be ready for harvest very, very soon. I'll have to get on to Gemma because she supplied the seed, she can eat the plant. Now we've come into the greenhouse. Now I was asked how I support the cucumbers on my frame in the top greenhouse. Well, obviously we haven't got a top greenhouse this year, but this is the frame that I did have in the top greenhouse. So I've put it here, and as you can see they're in 15-litre pots and they're climbing nicely now. But what I should do, now that this high, I'm going to knit the tops out. There you are. So we get more side shoots, because we can only go up to 6 foot. I can't go across the top of this greenhouse. So we'll take the tops out, and then that will make side shoots that will train onto here as well. And if need be, I should put a cane in the side and train the side shoot up those as well. But we will get some cucumbers off it here, and we'll have a few off those in that pea net as well. As you can see, I've turned the greenhouse down, I've turned the greenhouse round now for growing tomatoes and peppers. I've put peppers all down this side on the staging, and on the tomato side I've dropped the staging down onto some nursery crates and put the tomatoes all in 10-litre pots there and bringing them up. But what I was looking at, this one here, this tomato here, I'm going to have to put a rail across and let them grow up to the rail, perhaps on a cord or something, just to get them a little bit higher. I didn't think they'd get up there that quick, but it's been growing well and it's very warm here anyway. So that's what I'll do for the tomatoes, put a rail up, put some cords up and take them up. If need be, we might take them across, but we'll see how we are. We've got plenty of tomatoes out there, so if we've got plenty, we'll just stop them there. This is the basil. It wants watering, well, everything will want watering in a short while. There's 3 trays of basil for her and a pot, as you can see. Now, most of these peppers, I would say the majority of them, not most, majority of these peppers here are what we've grown from our own seeds. So we've got orange, we've got yellow, we've got red. The only ones that we didn't collect the seed for was the bullhorn, but they're all doing remarkably well. They're moist at the moment, but they will have a drink with some nice rainwater. As soon as the sun goes in a little bit, I'll give them a drink. These plants on the floor are the busy lizzies and begonias that are just finishing now, growing them up a little bit so we can take them up to the pots. Some of the early sets have come away all right, but there's some of the begonias need at least another week. Now, we have used most of the imps that have put a flower on because Di likes to colour coordinate, but these haven't, so we're keeping them in here in the warmth till they start to flower and then they'll go up. Now, what I have learned this year, because this is the first year I've ever saved my own begonia seed, and they've all done remarkably well, but we need to go very, very early setting them and set them very, very thinly, because I found that where they got too close together, they just died, they went bad, rotten and dropped off. So if we start earlier and put them in thinner, we can do our own begonias and our own busy lizzies. I'll show you how to catch the seed of that later in the summer. Now, that'll be it for now. We will film again at the weekend, obviously, but we was waiting for this bit of dry spell. It was either too wet or too windy to get out here, but we've managed it, and hopefully we'll see you in a few days. Bye now.